Yo, game of 10.
Hey, hey.
Oh my gosh, as I mentioned off before the call started, I joined the clean shaving club.
hmm Good man, good
Yeah,
man.
I hope everybody appreciate. Yeah, that's the way it ought to be. It shaves
I
years
say
off actually as it goes.
it's
So,
funny you mention that because I got a lot of friends who think that a big beard, a robust, hairy chin is a sign of respect, a sign of maturity. It's a cultural thing, isn't it? Different places, different feelings. But we're back.
definitely.
Hello again. We're going to be talking about. So we're going to continue with our fake Nintendo Direct and see what else they've got to show.
That's right.
And there's been some cool news recently. There's some interesting things happening, and honestly, some positive news popping out. I'm feeling good. I'm smiling. I was looking at some things today, and I'm quite excited. In fact, while I was waiting for my esteemed guest to come on my Zoom link, I started wandering around, looking at some new games that are popping out, and there is this new game called Wild Blue. I'm just gonna share it with you now. Let's
Please.
I full screen it. Mm, okay, check this out. So I'm on Steam, and this is a new game that's and been announced. Not much has been seen, but we do know it's by a previous Star Fox creator.
No, it couldn't be any more, as Avril Lavigne says, any more obvious.
Her eyes open.
What the
Uh,
heck? Enemy on my tail!
Evasive maneuvers. Do a barrel.
The
We don't call
music.
them that here.
That's cute. That's cute. It's basically a
Yes.
guy going, "Yo, I want to do the Star Fox again." It's Star Fox's turn for the ukulele. Banjo-Kazooie got ukulele. The creators came back and went, "Yo, we want to take a crack at this." And one of the old creators is like, "Yo, we want more on the rail shooters." So yeah, this looks
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah.
beautiful because
Beautiful. That same Jinx. Same working for my idea.
yeah, but
But
it's
yeah,
just it looks great. It's obviously we've got no gameplay, actual gameplay. We've just got
yeah.
a teaser trailer and some pictures. But if it's this kind of
Mhm.
artwork and this kind of visuals, yeah, I think we're onto a winner. I would happily play that.
Flames.
I
Yeah, dude, you
Star
can
Fox
rest
is a
assured give me
great
that.
series, and it really kind of
Oh,
encapsulated a point in time. Trouble is that Shigeru
mm.
Miyamoto famously doesn't like to rehash the same ideas. He
Repetition.
likes to bring something
Ah,
new to the table each time. So,
mm.
is F-Zero GX is the pinnacle of F-Zero. That's why we've had no more. It's just they did it. They got it right. And if,
Mm.
Star Fox, there's been no real improvements. The last Star Fox game was kind of a bitter pill to swallow because it was a remake of the original, but it used the Wii U controller in an interesting way. Interesting
Oh,
being a word that's carrying a lot of weight there. So
mm.
yeah,
That's it. Yeah.
just give me Star Fox. Just give me more Star Fox. Just more levels, bigger levels. I'm happy.
Yeah, I think this is it. Given that, again, everybody out there, shout out to Guru Larry, who I mentioned I'm a huge fan of. He's back and everything. Check out his video on 5 times Shigeru Miyamoto was an asshole when he talked about how he screwed over Argonaut. For
Oh yeah.
apparently it was. I mean, Star Fox 64. I think stuff from that. I think apparently Star Fox 64, which is Light Wars. Um,
Yeah.
was originally going to be Star Fox 2, or no, I think Star Fox 2 was going to come out at a similar time, and then Shigeru pushed that down. So
Yes,
Star
there was
Fox 64.
Star Fox 1, which was a huge critical and commercial success. Now, critical success, yes, commercially popular. But it was popular enough to warrant a sequel, and they near enough made it a sequel, but Shigeru Miyamoto shut it down because it was too similar to the first. So Lilo Wars was just like
Right.
an upgrade, but it was also the first game that officially came out with a Rumble Pack. It was literally the first
Yeah.
game that introduced, and that's why I bought it. I was stoked for Star Fox. I didn't play the first one, the SNES. Lilac Wars was my introduction to the series because of the Rumble Pack.
Oh,
So
uh,
that gameplay feature warmed me to the idea, and I was like, "Oh, this looks good. I'm interested in it." I went out on my birthday. I spent it on went and bought myself the box with both of them, plugged it in, played, and getting feedback for the first time, and that was
That is it, man. You gotta love this game with that. How so many games have, in their way, peppered the experience, or they say, have contributed to the experience as a whole of what games are now. You got the Rumble Pack, the N64, you got the Dreamcast bringing the online feature, you got PlayStation with the dual analogs, and all that
yeah,
together
two
produced like
two
the
leg sticks,
standard.
man. Remember the time
Mm,
before then? Just everything with D-pad.
yeah.
2D works. I'm actually about 5 hours into the Last Faith. It's a
Mm,
it's if you take the artwork and the story of Blasphemous and you just give it a Dark Souls combat system. So it's
mm,
2D Metroidvania, but you kill an enemy, you get souls, you get enough souls, you go to the dealer, then they upgrade your stats. I'm really
ah,
enjoying it, but it's hard. I keep dying over and over, and that's not fun for me. But I'm
yeah.
pushing my way through. I'm bashing my head against the wall. But yeah, but 2D games work with the D-pad. That's fine. When I got the game, it was set to control stick as standard. I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm not enjoying the control stick. Went to the settings,
Mm,
changed it to D-pad because 2D works with D-pad, but 3D you need that
yeah,
freedom of motion.
it's
And yeah,
interesting.
I've repeatedly mentioned before that I feel that we need to, as an industry, as a standard, we need
Mm,
to archive older games. We need to be able to go back and play old games to see the
bro.
genesis of ideas of how this game influenced the this, and then this, and then we can
Yeah,
see how
this,
these standards became standards.
yeah,
Without it, we just have to trust companies and
this is it. This is what we
yeah,
need.
right.
Yeah, man, bloody hell. This is what we need Professor Suzuka back for, because she's been to the Nintendo Museum, and
Mm,
that is a place where they document it. Apparently, Shigeru, we saw it. I think we saw it ourselves. He said maybe I saw it myself, but he said if Yamauchi, the guy, the original head of Nintendo, was still around, he'd probably say not next to the museum. We're gonna hide our trade secrets. But
mm.
Shigeru is like saying it's important to show the progression, as you say, the when it starts from as a nascent idea, just every little
Yeah.
thing that's come together, and as it all coagulate. No, it all just comes together or agglomerates. It comes to form what we have today. We have this. We have, like you say, so many different ways to attack an idea now. So, like rail shooters and Sonic's Arts, which was the code name for Crash Bandicoot. Those are
Mm.
the kind of 3D games that you can play from the back. Even when you had the Sonic bonus level,
Yeah,
running around.
the little balls sphere thing, which was a
Yeah,
fun mini game, but it didn't.
yeah.
Thoughts, but they'll put them to the side for now. But yeah, absolutely, we should. I think that creating a piece of art is a transformative action, by which I mean that what you intend to set out to do is rarely what you
Mm.
finish with. Like
Oh
making a
yeah, bloody
movie
hell.
is never, oh, I have a script and we shoot the script and that's it. No, no, the process of making it changes the movie. There's a lot of improvisation. There's a lot of kind of realization of, oh, on the fly, this doesn't work. Okay, we'll try something different.
Mm,
You rarely have the finished product is rarely what you set out to make, and it's the same for games. You
mm,
know, there's a lot more intention made because you have to code each thing and it has to be tested and tested and tested. But I can't think of a single game that set out with a single design doc and then ended with that same design doc. It's just
hell
not.
to the no. I mean,
No,
the only
it's
thing I
just not
know.
how it's made. So having a little look under the hood at the
Mm,
processes, the thought processes, the environment that the creators were in to help come up with the ideas, that's nice. I don't like how a lot of behind the scenes or making of is just like a promotional video. It's like, yo, look how amazing this thing is. Here's how the thing. I preferred
special
back when
features.
I was,
Yeah.
yeah, leave the adverts and the special features, but give me a making of. Show me the struggles, show me the strife, what
Yeah.
worked, what didn't work. That's why I love deleted scenes. These are
Yeah,
scenes
yeah.
that they went through the process of
The
creating,
process
but
of actually
realized
creating that is
didn't
it. And
work.
yeah, yeah, dude, exactly. I feel like this is what I love about Shamu again is there's like a playlist or I think it's G3. I think it was a G. No, what am I talking about? Yu Suzuki, the first Shamu game and the second were on the way, but he did a presentation I think it was a G3 event, but Peter Molyneux actually, for
Gaming,
people,
gaming,
Molly,
gaming.
yeah, he brought him up, and they're talking about how Shenmue was made. Now it's interesting, but like you say, when they do the behind the scene, the promo style, how it was made thing, you can kind of see it coming. But because Shenmue was such a new idea of a game, it still felt some games are so original that when, or at least I saw it at the time, at least, that when you even look at the promo stuff, it feels like, wow, I'm on the cusp of discovering how something goes. The
Hmm.
detail they went into, the clay heads of Rio, all the designs, like people sculpted out of wood and all that stuff, and just to get that a concept of Rio out, and all the motion capture they're doing the early days, and all the martial arts and all that stuff, and
Yeah,
the texture mapping for the Coca-Cola cans to the vending machines is like, wow, they went really, and then they got professional architects to plan out the cities of Japan and Kowloon and Hong Kong and stuff. And I was like, that is just that is a documentary I've watched like I don't know how many times, but I just leave it on as wallpaper as inspiration sometimes. And
sure.
yeah, and like you
It's
say, it's just witnessing an idea
something new.
fleshing itself
It's
out.
trying
Mm,
to explain the new is always interesting because you're like, how did you get here? What what
yeah,
processes?
exactly.
But that's nice. But yeah, I'm excited about some of the gaming news that's come out recently because it reassures me of what I previously thought to be true. Wait,
Mm,
I'm not explaining myself very well. Okay. I've been on this channel for a number of years now. We've created a lot of content together, and we've gotten a good sense of
mm,
each other. I'm an older gamer. I started with
yeah.
my first console was a Game Boy, but my first gaming experiences were arcade. It was before the time when you really had a console at home. You had to go somewhere, and then the game was tied to the unit. Then, of course, gaming changed, and we got home devices which you could plug games into, more cost effective.
Right.
But because of that, I've watched the industry change. I've watched different trends come and go, but the ethos has always been produce a good product. You know,
Yeah.
make something that sells, and that's the argument. You know, if it sells, it's a good product. But there's also been a burgeoning, ballooning, growing in understanding that these are art, and they could tell a good
Mm,
story. They could have a gaming experience, and that's why more recently we've had, besides Jeff Keighley's Game Awards, but we've had awards given to games that have proven themselves as distinguished in different areas. It's not like, oh, the game of the year. No, who had the best soundtrack, who had the best gameplay, who had the best mechanics, who had the best new IP. These things need to be acknowledged. But I've seen the industry go through some real dark times in the past 10 years. You know, our influences and circumstances outside of our control, COVID, recessions, have forced the industry to adapt. And unfortunately, they haven't done too well. Do you know what I mean? COVID was a really weird time because everyone was
mm,
at home, and I mean, gaming exploded. I mean, the fact that Animal Crossing and Doom came out during that time, it was just godsend. No one planned on it, but Lord, if people capitalized on it. But online gaming was so
yeah.
successful, and
Yeah.
the company made so much money
Mm, mm, mm.
that they invested heavily into kind of expanding, making more money. But then COVID ended, and people stopped. They were leaving their house and started getting back to their old life. And now we've seen so many companies be gutted, so many developers being fired. We've seen good, hardworking individuals who just want to make good games be screwed. And it's not hard to see why people are frustrated with the industry or a little bit disillusioned by it or feel let down. These
Yeah.
companies come out and go, yo, we're with you. We want to make good games. And you're like, okay, we'll just make good games. Well, yeah, but we didn't sell as many. Like, yeah, but it was a good game. No. We need to sell more and more and more. And if we don't keep selling more and more and more, then we can't make games. Well, if you can't make games for a price, screw you. But no, I don't know. In the last year or so, I've seen some bright sparks. I've seen some upward trends. Still a lot of bad. All right. But periodically, I'm seeing things that do bring, I don't know, warm my old heart, bring a little bit of life back to it, a bit of a spark back into the gaming industry as a whole, as a
Mhm.
concept. And little things like this. Like last week, we were looking at a fake Nintendo Direct, and all the
Yeah,
videos we saw on it were fan made, which is they made by for the love of the game. They just people loved the games and Nintendo so much that they started creating their own things. They started spinning their own tales, and that's indicative of a fandom that loves, real
yeah.
passion for what they play. I will talk more about some of the news that has been dropping recently after we finish with the Nintendo Direct. But I want to jump. Really want to get onto it because we're about two-thirds of the way through. We got about 15 minutes left. Most of it's just chat, but there's a few good, nice videos within it. So let's watch this Direct and let's try and remember the spirit that it's made. We love
Mm,
games. We want to
yeah,
play games. We enjoy the pastime. It's our passion. It's our hobby. And sometimes, the companies screw us, but sometimes they do all right. Sometimes they make good choices, and sometimes sometimes everyone wins.
yeah.
Sometimes
Truly.
everybody wins.
Mm.
You know?
Those are my favorite moments. I just I'm into the mania personally. There are people out there who remember as we were talking last week about people who are just against things for the sake of, maybe I didn't describe it that way, but it's not talking about people who are
No, I remember.
contrarian for the sake. Yeah, contrarian for the sake of it. And I just can't stand them. It's like they can't. It's like they saying Goldman, but there is no pleasing you.
Mm.
So no matter what, they always have something to complain about. Something is popular. It's because they've dumbed it down before. It's like, what are you talking about? What are you paranoid for? And I'm
Mm.
like, I love Pokemon everywhere. And now again, I understand purists who's like you yourself, you're more of the manga side of Pokemon, the true gritty side. And I personally I love that, but I also love the anime. I love seeing Pokemon on trains in Okinawa. I love seeing Pokemon on planes. I love seeing Pokemon in cereal. I love seeing that's what made me love the game Shenmue. That I could just like you mean I can jump into this world of blend world. I just loved that. And when everybody wins that way, when you got you you want to bless it everywhere every time you see it. That to me is like that's paradise because you it's like you're very unapologetic about your passion, and it's just
Mm.
you don't feel like hikikomori, like, oh, I got to keep this side of me hidden away because it's not my time, or you feel that the industry is shying away from certain things that you think it could do to upset everybody, but no, everybody's just saying let's just celebrate this thing. That
Mm.
those are great moments for me. So I hope that contributes a bit to what was you were saying, but
No, I get, I get, I feel your sentiment too. We shouldn't be ashamed of our preferences. We shouldn't be ashamed
mm,
of what things we like, even if, you know, trends change, industries change and go through troubling times. If you're a fan of, say, an artist and then they make some rude comments online, you're like, oh, that sucks. But
mm,
it's the eternal debate. I don't think there's an answer to can you separate the artist from the art? I think the art is a finished product. I think the art is a concentrated piece of culture or a piece of the a time we lived in.
mm,
But that person made it. There was a really good argument that a web cartoonist made. Something positive, one of the best out there. Literally, it's been going on for 15 years. Just go and watch, read all of it. Seriously, it's just so solid reading, hilarious, insightful, human. But one of the characters turns out that his favorite writer, his favorite author, wrote a bunch of really, really hateful anti-LGBTQ material, and this is true. The real author came out against LGBTQ. And this is
mm.
before trans. It was just like, oh, gay people suck. Which why? But it blew him away. But he still went and got his book signed in the comic. He got his book signed and went, yo. He just asked him questions about the story because that's all that mattered to him. The art
Yeah.
was the focus, and I know it's difficult to extricate them. It's like I love Harry Potter, but
Mm,
J.K. Rowling can go eat a bag of dicks. Um,
mm.
but can I enjoy Harry Potter without supporting her? I don't know where the line is. I think it's a case by case basis. It's a personal decision. It's
Mm,
an eternal debate because there is no right answer,
mm.
But it's something that you should talk about. It's part of that self development. You have to talk about it. You have to kind of explore that argument within yourself. Where is the line? If it's something that you're not party to, maybe you're a little bit stricter, but something you are passionate about, that's hard. When people rail against video games are bad for you, I'm like,
Think
I'm
about it.
happy. I'm in a good
Yeah.
place. And I play games
Exactly.
all the freaking time. So I don't know where you're coming from. Oh, you're coming from a disingenuous place. All right.
But I guess a good point came in. I just had this class with my private students, and we're talking about this thing about. Look, you have to be honest with yourself. I mean, when somebody accuses you, it is a thing. It's easy for anybody from the outside to look at somebody and judge them because they've said or done something as being this kind of person and what have you. But if we're honest, if we were in their shoes and say, let's say the person is being accused of something, and they say, "No, I'm not," and we could say to them, "Yes, you are." But you can see what you're doing from a different perspective. That if only the person speaking were to empathize with that, they would understand that actually you're not saying what you're being accused of. So it would it would fit the script. So for example, let's say somebody said you're again, let's say I mean the same topic. No, let's say a different topic. Let's say somebody says you hate Germans, or I don't know, let's say you hate the Dutch, like Ossenpause something, and you're like, no, I don't, but you know you
Sorry.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah,
this Ossenpause.
it's quoting Swissgar from Metalocalypse, an old
Oh,
Adult Swim TV show.
all right.
Uh,
Right, sorry. Excuse me.
the Dutch are
So
scum.
yeah. So let's say somebody said that and you say, no, no, I don't, but they're convinced that you do hate them, but you know that you don't, right? After a while, you say to yourself, this is where this is where the truth matters. Like if somebody said, "Oh, games are X, Y, Z," or this is distractions, there's nothing good about them, video games, and you know it not to be the case. After a while, I can't even say the person's being disingenuous. They may actually believe that, but it doesn't matter. That's the thing. At the end of the day, it's like how comfortable in your own skin to enjoy what you enjoy, despite these contexts that are being introduced to it to challenge it. Ultimately, it comes down to um, yeah, and yeah, just like I said, I'll come to what we are in our own skin because ultimately, if I'm being fair, let's say, you know me, after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, I'm like, you know what, goodbye.
That's fair.
And yeah, or
I'm still a
even
fan of Will
he,
Smith.
yeah,
I,
that's the thing.
I
There's
don't
nothing,
I don't deny what happened.
exactly. So that's the thing. I'm not a
Oh,
guy who's
I want to hear your thought, but just want to add in one thing. Alan Carr had
mm,
this stellar joke. He was like, "Oh, Will Smith. Well, oh yeah, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Yeah, I gotta say, Will Smith, one of the greatest comedians, one of the greatest actors of our generation. Absolutely. I mean,
mm.
for 30 years, he made everyone think he was a nice guy.
Yeah, okay, I remember that. I heard that one. I heard that. Yes,
Oh,
that
I
is so
laughed.
true.
I laughed so hard. Now, whether you think he's a bad person or
Yeah,
not, whether you think it was an outside of his
that was a good
character,
joke.
this was
Yeah.
an isolated instance, or this was him, the mask being coming and showing who he was.
No,
I don't think I know what he did. I still like the guy.
mm. Yeah, that's the thing. So that's the thing. If I'm being completely honest, just like me or the Jackie Chan thing and the JCP
Mm,
stuff. So ultimately I'm saying now look, I think Jackson's a good example, even more than Will in that. Well, probably the same situation in that they're a part of a system that like I said, I can't begin to guess at what kind of pressures are happening to them behind the scenes to do X, Y, and Z. And therefore, I'm not going to judge any. Like my brother said, I don't judge another man's philosophy. I I can't walk in. I can't begin to walk in any of their shoes, either their shoes, everyone's experiences. And if I'm being honest, I have different perspectives on a variety of things. I can't call myself absolutely on one side of anything. If I
mm,
had to challenge myself, and everybody's this is the problem with tribalism is that when somebody says something that we don't agree with, you think they're excommunicated. I'm like, if I'm being honest with myself, I can't excommunicate myself. There's no such thing as a coin without a reverse side. Everybody's got that aspect on it's usually what when we find that aspect in ourselves that we are it's like somebody gets a breakup or something it's or the tensions are tightest where the division lies just like a border in a country usually the country hate their neighbors right at the point when you think you're the closest is when if you're to cut a line in the middle that's when the strongest tension is and you feel like it's like you have to when you break up with somebody people all of a sudden they're in love and they're fighting each other because they're so close and they have to try and fight to try and resist the urge to feel that they're one again. And all of that is like pointless, I feel, because ultimately, like again, I'm not gonna lie, Will Smith's a great actor, he's been influenced me. Yeah, influence. I love his stuff. I can watch his movies now, his older movies. I'm not interested in going forward though, but that's just me. I'm not saying he is a bad guy. I don't know him. but at the same
Mm.
time, I don't respect that behavior. And this is me, but I'm gonna be honest and say I can't do that to people. And when it comes to the art versus the artist, like you say, it's we just all born one day and we just trying to figure our way through this life, and we just decide to call ourselves an artist or whatever. We pick these tribes that already existed and we try to identify with it as much as possible. And then
It's
next
true.
thing you know, that very tribe that we try to identify with, to call ourselves an artist or whatever kind of professional that experience has allowed us to have, can turn on us. And they were like, hey, wait, I did my best to be one of you, but no. All of a sudden you said black hat instead of brown hat. Get lost and say, wait, what is this? Can I be honest? No, it's not about honesty. It's about conformity. And then
You
I
be
realized,
part of the tribe.
yeah, so I'm like, you know what? That's why I'm like, I'd rather the free speech, free speech thing. I'd rather people say what's in their mind, even if I don't disagree with it. I can say I'd rather know what they're thinking than everybody keeps quiet, because then you got a real problem. Because then you got a lot of people who would wear a mask in front of you, pretty much, and then like I've
I
been
agree. I
five
absolutely agree
people.
with you, but actually for a different reason. I'm more of a fan of knowing knowing the argument. If
Mm,
if someone's proposing an argument that I disagree with, fundamentally this is wrong, but they're arguing for it. I want to hear their argument so I know what they're saying. What are their points? What are their thought processes? How did they reach that conclusion?
mm,
Either so I can identify with it, or so I can disprove it.
mm.
But I want to know it. If people just keep it quiet, they're still talking about it, but they're not talking about it in public. And I think that the whole public sphere is beneficial so that we can all see all sides. And there's a lot of people
Mm,
who promote pumping out a lot of misinformation,
mm.
but those who do put out misinformation, they put it out there, which means that we can find it and we can disprove it. We can change it. We can say this is an example of misinformation. If they just
Exactly.
doing it quietly, where's the evidence? Where's the proof?
Exactly. This is it. This is it, mate.
But
And
yeah, I say
yeah.
it's a difficult topic to talk about because we all have our own tribes. We all part of groups. We all have different things we identify with. I'm British. I'm white. I'm a gamer. I'm a manga fan. All these things. I'm a part of this group, and I've spent time and energy identifying with it. I know certain terminology, languages, practices, tokens to which I identify me as part of the tribe. And everyone is. Everyone has
Mm,
part of a tribe, some in some way, shape, or form.
mm.
So we can't begrudge someone for their tribe or want to be
Yeah.
part of the tribe. That's the human nature.
Human nature.
But I
Mhm.
do think, you need the ability to call shit out that we don't like, that there is difficult. But again,
Very true.
yeah, I'm not Christian, but I do think that hate the sin, not the sinner. It's
Yeah,
quite
yeah.
I think there's a fair compromise. I'm not blaming you as a
Mm,
person. I'm saying I disagree with this argument, but I know
yeah.
that you identify with it, and then that's where we get trouble because if
Mm,
people get talk about, oh, games are terrible. I'm like, hey, I'm a gamer. I take that personally. No, I mean
yeah.
playing games instead of studying. Oh shit, yeah, actually that's wrong. No, you have to study first and then you play games. I completely agree with you in that regard.
Right. Yeah.
It's the blanket
Exactly.
statement.
Mm.
Oh, men are bad. All? Well, some men. Thank you. Qualify that. Thank you. Qualify it.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's it.
But with
Yeah.
that,
That's it, mate.
yeah,
Yeah.
we're getting into a completely tangent. It's a fun topic, but I think we
Mm,
should observe the joy, the passion that our own tribe has put forward. We're going to watch the remainder of the Nintendo Direct, the fake Nintendo Direct. I didn't mention the name of the channel last time. I want to just give a quick shout out. It is Fra Fox 13 Nintendo. That's FRA Fox, all on word, 13 Nintendo. He's done a few other things. He's done like Mario compilation, fake adverts. It's
sweet.
all a little bit hokey, but honestly, I love I love the effort, good hustle.
For
Right,
real.
jumping in. Time we
Yeah.
watched to the end of the Super Smash Brothers Fighter Pass. So they created a bunch of fake videos about characters they'd like to see in Smash.
Yeah, mate.
Honestly, there's just no end to this. Just have a game that everyone's in.
Yeah, my gosh. I mean, what next? I mean, we'll see.
Right, next one is one of my favorites. This one I think cuts a little bit deep for me. And you'll see
Mm.
why in a second. Waluigi, yes. Isaac, love him. School kid, totally. Toad, Bandana Waddle Dee, Tingle? Nah. I
Yeah.
think 3 out of 6 ain't bad though.
Yeah.
A legend
This one-
makes his return.
It's the way that it looks like it's shoddily made with PowerPoint. It's funny.
Yeah, this is clearly PowerPoint.
You know. You gotta dig the effort, man. There's no way that music will be in Zelda ever.
This is Zelda music. This is actually Zelda music, but it's not Ocarina of Time. It's from a different Zelda game. It's from the DS Spirit Tracks. Because I know that tune. It is the it's the Zelda with the trains soundtrack. Because that's the tune that's playing as you're chugging along. Listen.
What? Yes, I remember. Oh no! No way.
Change the tracks. Yeah.
I can't believe that.
But this is someone using Unreal or Blender to make an updated version of this, and it looks good. I mean, there's the original.
Unreal to me.
Classic.
Fantastic, yeah.
And then look at that, beautiful. I mean, a little dark, but
yeah. I mean, it looks. You can see that's made by a fan because the textures don't tend to blend like a Nintendo one. Just a tad. It looks too sharp.
It's too realistic. In all honesty.
And Nintendo is very, very consistent on consistency, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Ocarina of Time with this level of detail, with kind of expanded worlds. Yeah, I'd be up for that. Looks good.
I'd definitely try it. I mean, if Nintendo did it, I'd have to slap Nintendo at some point. But I'm saying this doesn't feel like Nintendo. But if it's a great remake, it's nice.
Oh, this would be a fantastic fan remake.
But what would you do if Nintendo put this out there? Would you slap somebody?
Like this? Oh, I'd be pissed.
How dare you?
I mean, I'd still play it. I'd buy it and play it immediately.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's too much in terms of. It's like that very jarring Mario that we saw in the first opening. Yeah. Yeah,
it's just too hyper realistic.
Yeah.
Especially because they're using the old environment and the older characters. You'd have to update whole sections of the game, just adapt it. We'll say,
it looks like
Hyrule Field, that looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, for sure. And these
Tortilla, reveal its form.
The trick with Ocarina is, you know what, this is what I love about games like 64 games and Shenmue and so on, is with the old graphics, the fun, the beauty of the game is in how imperfect it is. Even GoldenEye, you know, like when you shoot somebody, it's funny. I mean, of course, it's awful to shoot someone, but when you shoot someone in GoldenEye, they go, and they just do all these.
Or you shoot them in the leg and they go, yeah.
Yeah, and then they come running over to you like, and then they wait for a second, then they try and shoot you back. And it's just hilarious. So that's the charm. It's a bit like kung fu movies with poor dubbing.
Yeah, there's a certain joy to the errors, seeing the flaws. It's actually a Japanese concept.
Oh, really?
Oh, give me a second. I'll try and find the name.
All right, mate. Sound like a new word of the day coming up?
Yeah, the new word of the day. Oh, damn it. Nope, I don't need to find it.
Oh, no. The new word of the day is called Uso. I'm sure you're not lying, but... Speaking of which, thanks for those books you gave me about Japanese last week. They really came in handy. For any of you out there who wants to study it, I recommend studying Romanshi as well.
That's it.
Oh, you got the word, people. Kintsugi, how you say it?
So, I think it's apt for this video. We're coming to the end of this first part. We're going to put a pause and come back. But kintsugi is the practice in Japan where pottery is remade, or cracks and flaws are refilled in with gold.
Oh, yes. Ah, yes, I've seen that.
Because it's when the crack occurs, the object has sentimental value. It's made more unique, more personal because of the flaw. It's not a perfect object anymore. It's a personal object. And I think this is a good example. Looking at these visuals, this isn't how I would make it.
Mm,
I think I completely agree. This isn't how Nintendo would make it.
yeah.
But someone put the time and effort into making this. And for all
Right.
of its
Yeah.
cracks, for all the breaks and flaws that I see, I still love it. I still think this is a beautiful video. This is
Yeah.
such a labor of love. This is someone who played the game so often, so many
Mm,
times that it's indelibly carved into their memory. This is how they saw the game in their head, you know? It's,
mm,
you know, the joy of reading a good book and creating that world in your head, you know?
yeah.
And here we're seeing a slice of someone's passion, of someone's joy at the game. They
You
took the
true.
game, they tried to fix it with gold. And for all of its flaws, they created something entirely personal. And
That
yeah,
is it.
I like
It's
that.
original, therefore, actually. I think games like these need to have their own name, and they shouldn't even be called Ocarina of Time remakes. They should be called something else, and with nods towards it. If you do that, well, I mean, maybe it could be Okinawa, Ocarina of
Yeah,
Time. But I
I
mean,
think
it's so its
the
own
fan
thing now.
games feels a little bit too reductive. I think it needs to be like a passion game or something. It's got to be
Yeah, passion. That's about yeah. I like that one. Passion game.
yeah. We'll
Sounds
put that
great,
as a
man.
placeholder. We'll put a pin in that and see how it feels. But yeah, fan games. I like fan games. It's actually a really interesting one I discovered. Mario and the Rainbow Stars. It's Mario, but it has the gameplay of a Sonic. It's like a speed running Mario, and they've given him like the dive and the spin from other games, but in a 2D. It's just a simple 2D environment. But they've given him some of the mechanics and movement options of the 3D Mario's that allow him to kind of wall jump, jump over things, triple jump, dive forward, keep the
Well,
momentum going while you
wow.
speed run through a level. And honestly, it feels like in my heart when I saw the video for it. I was like, "How dare you! You're going against the entire design document. This is playing like a Sonic game, which you know repetition is king. Where you building skill mastery, speed is the reward for skill. You play the game, you get better at it, and the better at it you become, the faster you become. Mario
Mm,
games are about slow, methodical. You've got to explore. You've got to engage with the world. Slow down. Take it all in. See the world for what it is, rather than just gotta go fast.
mm.
But neither one's right. They're both great ethoses, both mechanics, you know. But you can clearly see Sega games tend to be faster, sharper. They want you to go and enjoy the game. Enjoyment is done through mastery. In
Mm.
Nintendo games, enjoyment is done through exploration and conquest. Once you've
Yes.
completed a section, you don't go back to it. You move on to the
Mm.
next area, but you spend enough time to completely understand it, break down the mechanics into those component parts, and really master them. Whereas Sonic games
Yeah.
are less about understanding and more about getting a vibe, getting the feel, getting the timing right. And then, you know, great Sonic player will just spin through the level because they'll feel out the right paths, almost like lines on a driving game. Whereas Mario, yeah, he takes his time, he finds all those hidden secrets.
That
So
is
seeing
it.
a Mario play like a Sonic, I
Yeah. But it's
Mario
Kinsugi again.
and yeah, Mario and the Rainbow Stars, I think it's called. Check
Oh
it
man, I
out.
mean,
You got that.
maybe when we come back, you should again pull up a clip. But but yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
I
have to
might.
wrap up.
I
We
might. Right.
you have to reload, I guess, because it's less than a minute before we have
Yes,
to.
less than a minute. Right. We'll be back here for part two. See you soon.
Kinsugi. Yep. See you soon. I'll
Peace.
get the link.